Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you again to our witnesses for speaking with us today. Over the past 2 months, while Republicans shut down the government, working families have been feeling the stain of a slowing job market, higher prices for food, gas, and unaffordable health care. Instead of returning to Congress to address the economic issues facing the American people, we wasted this morning discussing an outdated and ineffective program that does nothing to lower everyday costs, improve job quality, or make workplaces safer and fairer. E-Verify would pile more paperwork and liability on to small businesses, exacerbate hiring discrimination, and deny qualified American job opportunities due to system errors. No one is stopping businesses from choosing to use E-Verify, but most do not bother with it because of its rampant problems. Working families and small businesses are not asking for E-Verify. They are asking for higher wages, paid leave, access to quality, affordable healthcare and childcare. It is our duty to step up and deliver effective solutions to these problems on behalf of our constituents and build an economy that works for everyone. With that, thank you, and I yield back.
This is not a big issue for us to solve, like curing cancer or AIDS, even though we attempt to do that every single day. This is something that is simple, a simple ban to make sure people who should not have access to these weapons do not get them. And then
You're probably wondering, how did we get here? In order to address that, we have to delve into a critical period in Somalia's history marked by civil war and governmental chaos during the 1980s and the 1990s. This area profoundly shaped the nation and its people.
It is quite clear, if, for example, your attitude is danger to your faith in this country, how can you have me?
Let me introduce you to General Mohammed Zayed Barre. In the late 1960s, Somalia experienced a military coup that brought him into power. Initially, his government was welcomed, promising modernization and national unity. However, by the late 1970s, discontent began to brew. In the 1980s, Barre's regime became increasingly authoritarian. Political repression intensified, with opposition groups forming to challenge his rule. The Somali national movement emerged in the north, seeking autonomy for the region. The government's brutal crackdowns on dissent led to widespread human rights violations. The tipping point came in 1991 when Barre was ousted from power. This led to a power vacuum, and various factions vied for control, resulting in a devastating civil war. Clans became the primary source of identity, and loyalty shifted rapidly, leading to chaotic violence across the country. The conflict created a catastrophic humanitarian crisis. Famine struck, exacerbated by the ongoing violence and the collapse of governmental structures. Millions of Somalis were displaced, both internally and as refugees in neighboring countries. The international community responded, but with mixed results. In 1992, the United Nations initiated Operation Restore Hope, aiming to provide humanitarian aid and stabilize the situation. However, the mission faced challenges, including armed resistance from local warlords. By the mid-1990s, Somalia was still in turmoil. The absence of a central government continued, contributing to instability and violence. Various factions continued to fight for control, leading to a protracted state of lawlessness that would last for decades. Between 1987 and 1989, the Somali military, in which Colonel Nur Omar Mohammed, Ilhan Omar's father, served as a senior officer, executed a brutal and systemic campaign of genocide targeting the Isaaq people of the modern-day Republic of Somaliland. This dark chapter in Africa's history, which was known as the Isaaq Genocide, was a merciless military campaign that resulted in the killing of over 200,000 Isaaq civilians. It also involved widespread forced displacement, scorched earth destruction of the second and third largest cities, aerial bombardment of almost every other single city, town, and village in Somaliland, and 2 decades of large-scale Red Terror-style tactics against the civilian population of Somaliland. In a simple Google search, as you can see on the screen, the highlighted lines outline the facts. Ilhan Omar's father, Nur Omar Mohammed, who died in June of 2020 at the age of 67 due to complications from COVID-19, was a former civil servant, teacher, and guess what? A colonel in the Somali National Army under the Syed Barre regime. At the heart of this brutal military regime was Colonel Nur Omar Mohammed, Ilhan Omar's father. His rank, authority, and membership of the regime, and 10 plus years of having climbed the hierarchy in Somalia's military to rank as a colonel, placed him squarely in the Somali military's command hierarchy during and at the height of its Isaaq genocide campaign. Imagine a young girl born in a war-torn country, surrounded by chaos and violence. Now picture that same girl rising to become a member of Congress in the United States, representing a diverse community. This is the story of Ilhan Omar, a so-called trailblazer, but also a figure mired in controversy. Today, we're not just looking at her political career, but we're diving deep into the allegations surrounding her life and the events that shaped her journey. Ilhan Omar was born on October 4th, 1982 in Mogadishu, Somalia. As the youngest of 7 siblings, her father was an ethnic Somali from the Osman Mohammed subclan of Majarteen. He served as a colonel in the Somali army under Syed Barre and participated in the Ogden War from 1977 to 1978. Her mother, Faduma Hussein, an ethnic Benadiri, tragically passed away when Ilhan was just 2 years old. Raised by her father and grandfather, Omar grew up in a household that emphasized moderate Sunni Islam. Ilhan's family fled Somalia to escape the horrors of the Civil War, spending 4 years in the Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya. In 1995, 3 of her siblings secured asylum in the United Kingdom, whilst the other 3 family members received asylum in the United States. They arrived in New York before settling in Arlington, Virginia, where they joined the Omar family.
I'm not shocked because we know that the president oftentimes resorts to very bigoted, xenophobic, Islamophobic, racist rhetoric when he is trying to scapegoat and deflect from the actual failures that he has himself. We know that this administration has not fulfilled the majority of the promises that they've made, whether it is bringing costs down, whether it is the tariffs that are decimating businesses in the United States, whether it is the possible war crimes that his defense secretary is committing. And so to me, it is important for us, one, to remind folks that we are Americans. We're not going anywhere, and we will continue to be in this country. And 2, that Minnesotans are resilient, and we will continue to thrive.
As if that isn't enough, let's fast forward to the present. And Omar has become one of the most prominent figures in American politics, representing Minnesota's 5th congressional district. Yet her rise has not been without controversy. Reports have emerged alleging her involvement in tax, marriage, and immigration fraud. Critics claim that the Minnesota Democrats, mainstream media, and even the Department of Justice have largely ignored or downplayed these serious allegations. In 2002, Omar married Ahmed Hirsi in a religious ceremony. He is the father of her 3 children, but the plot thickens. In 2016, journalist Scott Johnson received a tip about marriage certificates suggesting that Omar married her brother Elmi in 2009 to help him immigrate to the U.S. legally. This revelation raises significant legal and ethical questions.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up!
I rise in support of this bill, not because it's perfect or even sufficient, but because the lives and the livelihoods of Americans are at risk. And so this bill provides immediate cash assistance. It allows for unemployment benefits. It puts direct money in the hands of small businesses who are struggling in my district. It creates $100 million in assistance to hospitals, something Minnesota hospitals are desperately in need of. And it creates $150 billion in necessary funding for state
Gentleman from
and
Maryland
local
reserves.
government.
The gentleman from Texas is right.
As Ilhan Omar fights for bigger government and more taxpayer spending, a Facebook Live video from August 2016, a Somali American caucus member claimed that anyone discussing Omar's personal life would be branded an enemy of the community. This creates a chilling effect that silences dissent and discourages open dialogue. Let's check out this clip from Alpha News.
As troubling details mounted against Omar, members of the Somali community were threatened into silence through intimidation tactics and physical violence on themselves and their families still back in Somalia. In an obtained Facebook Live video from August 18, 2016, a woman identified as the Associate Chair of the Somali American Caucus speaks. And in translation, she states in plain terms that any Somali that talks about Omar's personal life, including marriage discrepancies, is an enemy of the Somali community. Credible?
That sounds familiar, doesn't it? I wonder who's going for the coup now. As the evidence continues to mount, the question remains, will Ilhan Omar face accountability for these allegations? Journalists like David Steinberg are tirelessly investigating these claims, seeking the truth behind the controversy. Thank you for watching. If you have found this video informative, please like and subscribe. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue the conversation. Until next time, stay informed.